Sometimes I'm trying to figure a scribble I could let loose, dodging the dribble that they trying to throw my way. I think I figured that them figures out to get you. Let them pull the strings that trigger what you say. Think it's difficult to get out on my brain. I wish life wasn't any other way, but it's all side roads to nowhere, and I can find a map that seemed to mark my place. My heart frigid when it sit inside that cold air that exists between our lack of shit to say. But I always wanna spend my time with you, even when I'm walking, got no change. You still sticking here with me, yeah, you still sticking here with me. And I just wanted to say thank you, thank you. I'm a scrub but you still love me, you love me. I'm a scrub but you still love me, you love me. Even though I don't make no money, you've been there when the times get ugly. I'm a scrub but you still love me, you love me. I'm a scrub but you still love me, you love me. Even though I don't make no money, you've been there when the times get ugly. I'm broke. Oh wait, shit, it's the second verse, right? I think it goes like, I've been stuck inside this pocket of debt, empty walls and stress. Gotta stop smoking this cess, I turn redundant. I'm a con, I'm ignoring myself. Can't stomach her dwelling. She steady telling me I'm the center of all my problems, but I can't complain, I ain't a man of my own. I'm 26, not home. I ain't grown, been wasting my way to progress, but at least I got your love on my back, steady making me laugh. For that, I gotta thank the Lord above us, cause you make me smile when my world look gray. You make me laugh when my Santa is blue. My world's low pockets in these words I make. Yeah, I'm a scrub, but at least I got you. Yeah, at least I got you. And I just wanted to say thank you. Thank you. I'm a scrub, but you still love me. You love me. I'm a scrub, but you still love me. You love me. Even though I don't make no money, you've been there when the times get ugly. I'm a scrub, but you still love me. You love me. I'm a scrub, but you still love me. You love me. Even though I don't make no money, you've been there when the times get ugly. And I just wanted to say thank you. Thank you. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah. Those. Yeah. Started from the mud, now you see us going up. Numbers never lie, now you see us blowing up. People used to front, now you see them showing up. So what's up? I've been down and out below. Keep it a buck, I don't fuck with these niggas. Always been one up on all of these niggas. They be trying to front for all of these bitches. I ain't got time cause they all in they feelings. Ice of the gang and we making a killing. It's 2020 and they notice the vision. You be the hero, I'm playing the villain. The underdogs and we walking the villain. We getting money, yeah, they think that we dealing. They talking hot, yeah, fuck they opinions. And we won't stop till we all touch a million. Don't ever forget, but we probably forgive my nigga, I'm living. Taking the cause that was given, my blessings is already written. Wrap little ribbon, putting ourselves in positions to making some major decisions. Started from the mud, now you see us going up. Numbers never lie, now you see us blowing up. People used to front, now you see them showing up. So what's up? I've been down and out below. Look, I'm trying to get where I'm going, but haters be trolling, that's where they fucked up. Thinking you got me right where you want me, I tell a ghost just ducked up. Sending them shots, we send them back, y'all niggas ain't really bout that. Real niggas always bounce back, need more hands just to count that. Stay on my bully, I need me more breeze, just so we can get the team right. Loaded up fully, dogs on a leash, and you be knowing that's a scary sight. That shit don't happen overnight, work smarter with some sacrifice. Sugar spice and everything nice, mix it up, now you got a slice. We bridging the gap, they want us to rap, so fuck are we back? Hey, yeah. Drew need a plaque, we turn to the max and we never lack. Hey, yeah. Been in my bag, the shit is a drag, I'm feeling jet lagged. Hey, yeah. Came back for vacation, I ain't unpacked, cause I'm going back. Facts, ooh, double the racks, TD the bank, your CD is blank, the Cuban is link, smoking that dank, pour up the drink, fill up the tank, what do you think? I ain't the one, but I'm the one, who does I hook? He gon' dumb, you hear them drums, came from the slums, they know we the ones.
Fried, what's happening, my man? How you doing? I think we're ready. I think. Is this one? Beautiful. How's everybody doing? Ernie, what's happening? How you doing? All right, we are in Las Cruces, New Mexico. Almost all the way over the eastern, like the easternmost part of the map. And I thought we could head to California. We haven't been to California in a minute. So let's go here. Oh, and hang on. We go here. before we do anything else. I did reskin the truck. I'm reskinning these one at a time because there's so many of them. So I think as we get ready to swap trucks for any particular live stream, we'll just paint it up for that, right? But I don't want to do them all at once. I did do all my planes, almost all my planes. I've got, I still have to do the Airbus 319, but I've done all my planes, and it's a pain in the ass getting these all done. So that's us. We're back in the Mac Anthem. I really do like this truck. I think, I don't know, could be tied for first with the 389 for my favorite truck ever. I really, really do like this truck. It's newer, you know, so it's got that advantage over the 389, but I think it's really well done. I like the Freightliner, but I don't know, kind of bland. All right, hop back in here. Let's find something. Let's make some money. And I think we're going to level up this trip too, are we not? Oregon. Oh, how about that? 1,400 miles? That's a little too far. Let's see if we got something in California. Fresno. That's just about perfect right there. Maybe something a little further south. Nope. Nope. It's the only thing in this whole dispatch going to California. Okay, so that'll be it then. We just slept. We can get fuel on the way out because we're right behind a fuel stop. There's fuel. Yep, right there. Can we get to that? Maybe. All right, here we go. Yeah, Ernie, what I do is I make a second folder. And you have to swap them back and forth. You have to rename them, or you can call them both mods as long as you keep one in another place. But I make another folder, and that's my server mods. And then I've got my personal mods. So if I've got edits, I don't need to worry about overwriting them or accidentally uploading them to the server, and then everybody's confused because theirs don't work. You know what I mean? So I just make a second folder for server mods. Just exactly for that reason, because I don't want to lose any of my edits. And we don't really need fuel, but let's go ahead and do it. I mean, we're right here. And I don't even think we're supposed to be going through this way. Yeah, this is, we're going out through the indoor. Right about there. Beautiful. All right, engine off, let's get some fuel. And then from here, you know what? Let's flip around. Because in real life, I'm guessing this exit right here, or where I want to exit, I'm guessing the reason we don't want to exit here is because the traffic coming from the ramp is like right over there. And it wouldn't be quite enough distance, you know what I mean? So we'll try to be good, safe truckers. Yeah, putting it together right now, Fried. And I'm also trying to include the location, like where those mods are. I mean, I guess I could put a link in. Oh, there's like no traffic at all. I could put a link on the spreadsheet, like a link to the actual mod. What just happened? Wait a minute. Already we got problems. We're just getting started and already we got problems. Here we go. This is better. All right, out here and then to the right. Yeah. That makes more sense. Okay, here we go. Yeah, it seems like there's hardly any traffic at the moment at all. I'm wondering what is causing that. The game did update. Not a full patch, but like a, I don't know, one of the hot fixes that they did patch up. I'm really curious about the AI. I've seen some other people kind of mention it. And one take is it's always been broken. It's no worse than it ever was. And another take is, yeah, it's definitely worse. There's something going on. So maybe they are addressing it. Unknown. And I really like the way this truck sounds, too. But, again, I mean, it's newer, so they've got newer sound files or maybe some new or different recording techniques. And I don't know if they fly out to record the trucks. I know for the Freightliner they did find one that was in the EU somewhere and recorded that one. But for the American trucks, I mean, if it was me, I would just hire a contractor. I would just get a hold of a sound engineer in the US, and you still have to track down. You still have to track down the truck on your end. Like SCS would still have to do that. But once they found somebody that's willing to let their truck be recorded, then I would just sub it out to an American sound engineer, right? And that way you don't have to fly over or try to find a version of an American truck somewhere in the EU. But I do feel like they're, with FMod, they've got a new recording technique, because I think the trucks sound a lot better now. Here we go. And it always takes me, I don't know if you've noticed this, but it takes me about 10 minutes to get settled in when I start the stream. I'm always running late. I'm always a little bit flustered. Oh, look at this. That is so typically American. Speed traps everywhere up in here. Gotta make that money. So we'll go right in here. Yep, I think I see it. All right, is this us? I've had a couple of company name mods, and I thought the Sissel pack, because we've got the Sissel trailer pack, I thought the Sissel trailer pack also renamed the companies. But maybe this, like this iteration of it is only skinning the trailers, because I feel like the companies are all generic at the moment. And what are we gonna make? We are gonna make 50 grand from this. We don't really need money, but I mean, there's never anything wrong with making money. I like money. All right, so we gotta go right over here. I think we got room. And it may give it to us. It may not. If it doesn't, we'll just flip around one time. There we go. All right. So windows down. Set brake. Engine off. Let's get loaded up. And it's noon right now, so yeah, we just slept. So hopefully we get to drive a little bit in daylight, maybe a little bit in darkness too. I do like the game in the dark. All right. Here we go. Windows up. And if I was making this trip in real life, I mean, I don't know, I'd probably want to get on the 40 to the 15, but that wouldn't be the most, I don't know, it's not the most scenic. It's just an interstate. So I think they may route us on some smaller highways. Jaden, what is happening? How you doing? And I think, hang on, let me do something here. Moment. So I gotta go here first. All right, let's go right there. And then right here. And over here. There we go. Apologies for that. I was trying to mix it up a little bit with some, I don't know, different on the Spotify list in the background, and that was the reason why I was kind of reluctant to do that in the first place. So I think we're going to have to stay away from the hip-hop. I don't know what your particular sensitivities are, but I do try to be aware. So yeah, we'll stick with the trap beats. We'll stick with the instrumental. Lesson learned. Oh, he's still waiting.
Go straight on.
And I'm trying to think what else is going on. Yeah, nothing. I'm excited about the MP server. Looking forward to getting this going. And I forgot, I mean, because when we first talked about it, it sounded like there'd be, I don't know, half a dozen mods. And I think we're up to about 40 already. But it's not like hoarding or anything. There's a lot of like basic mods that I like to run on a map. I think a lot of people are the same way. It doesn't seem like it. But when I look at my Western Shore save right now, I think I have about 80 mods running. But you wouldn't know it. I mean, they're not, I don't know, they're not, you know what I'm talking about. It's hard to describe, but it seems like 80 mods would just be overwhelming, but a lot of them are sort of discreet. Here we go. All right, we're on our way. Oh, hell yeah, Friday. Right on. Congratulations. Happy birthday. Yeah, it's kind of hard to go wrong with the 920.
Go straight on.
I mean, unless you want to like drive competitively or something. I think that's a perfect wheel. I was thinking, oh, let me find a good gear here. I was thinking, try to find 2 more for 8, but I don't know if there's room for 8 farms on that map because we're 6 now. I think 6 might be just about right. Because there are, I want to say there's 6 big maps. Because there's the one I'm at now. What's that? Oh, I don't know. We'll call it the southeast corner. Then there's Bramble Lane and the Pig Farm and Blockwell in the middle, so that's 4. And then Seaview is northwest. There's a sheep farm, Hatton, that's it. There's a sheep farm to the southwest. And then there's the sort of middle northern one. So there's a total of 7 farms, and there's 6 of us now. So, I don't know. I was thinking 8, just because 8 is like the number that the server wants you to default to. But 6 might be better. 6 might not be too crowded. We also need to figure out what we want for starting money. Because I think the initial save game, we're all going to be broke. So I was thinking like $500,000 a piece. Enough to buy, I don't know, 1 field, maybe 1 or 2 pieces of kit. But then depending on how it all splits up, how everybody wants to equip their farm, and if we can get some collaboration going. Everybody only buys like one of one. So one person's got a plow, one person's got a cultivator, one person's got a broadcast spreader, etc. And we can contract out with each other. Really tripping over my words today. Oh, and Fred and I did that. We were doing a lot of business with one another. Sort of contracting back and forth. And that had a nice flow to it. We're at 65 here, 75, beautiful. That seems new. Oh no, this isn't new. I was looking at the those traffic barricades, and I was... Some of the way stations, as you pass them, some of them are open and some of them are closed. I thought that was a spawn to indicate a closed way station, but I think that big facility we just passed back there, I don't know if they're going to build that into something later, but it's a great big way station, but it's all sort of blocked off. I just saw something else that I saw that spawned in when... Oh, it's that that Zebo mod, the Zebo 737 that I use. When you go into it, there's a menu inside the aircraft. When you go into that menu and put the chocks on the wheels, it also throws 2 traffic cones in front of each engine, because the 737 engines are so low, they sit so low to the ground. So just an additional little warning. I like little details like that in sim gaming. The way that Bullet Bill has the vehicles moving around the map, I wouldn't mind seeing something like that on this map. I know we have some random events, but I don't know, more sort of static events to go with the random stuff. Like when they close a road, it's typically just a police car of some kind, but maybe barriers instead, right? Like a proper construction detour. I don't know if that would work. I think it would. It's the same thing, right? It's just a spawn. I need to finish that because I want to hop back on the Western Shore tomorrow, so I need to finish up with that soybean field. Oh yeah, you're right, Fried. We had said no seasons to start, and then I went and threw seasons on that spreadsheet. Yeah, I think we can start without, because it is going to be tough to coordinate half a dozen different schedules. So for now, just so nobody's, I don't know, getting kind of boxed in time-wise, maybe we run without seasons for a little while. And it's an opportunity to make a little bit more money, a little bit more easily. Oh, easy. I mean, the traffic feels a little different. We'll see if that holds out. We'll see if the trend continues, but the traffic does feel a little bit different right now. And some of these towns, I have to say, as many times as I've been on this road, so some of these towns, I have completely blanked them out. I don't remember them at all. Haven't played ATS since before Christmas? Yeah. Is that because of Hunter Call of the Wild? I'm kind of the same way with X-Plane right now and VATSIM. I can't seem to step away from it. Alright, so that is Arizona already. I believe it is. Yep. Let's pull in and get Wade here. Yeah. Yep, I can see that. I'm wondering what my next Time Toilet title is going to be. And there's nothing really on the horizon. There's some franchise games dropping in 2021, but there's no... I think the biggest sort of standalone title that I was thinking of was Dead Stick, and I don't know if that's ever going to be done now. After seeing the sort of Bush Pilot component in Microsoft Flight Simulator, I don't know if they're even going to bother finishing that game. So that was really the only, I mean, that and Q3 there's supposed to be that new train sim, but that's quite a ways from now. So I don't know. I can't think of the next title that is supposed to drop. Sim gamers get so, our titles, we get so many less titles than like fantasy or shooters or RPG or strategy. It seems like there's so many titles, right? Battle Royale, MMO, and then we get this little like 1 or 2 per year, and those other genres seem like they get 1 or 2 per month. But I haven't heard any real big drops that are on the horizon. I mean, X-Plane 12 is coming at some point, but I feel like they've really had the bar raised by Flight Simulator, so we'll see. I mean, if I was them, I would not want to rush it because the competition is going to be so stiff. Carefully. Oh, easy. Yeah, I don't know if they're... Even before Flight Simulator dropped, I don't know that they were going to be able to finish it. They've sort of gone dark. And that's not a good sign from a dev. To me, that, you know, if you've got an enthusiastic, engaged audience and suddenly you stop talking to them, every developer wants an enthusiastic, engaged audience. And I feel like when a dev stops talking, it's because they've got nothing else to say to them, right? They don't want to give them bad news, and they don't have any more good news for them, so they just go dark. But even before Flight Simulator dropped, I guess it seemed like they were beginning to struggle a little bit. And since Flight Simulator dropped and people realized how good the Alaskan flying was, now it doesn't have that economic aspect to it, and I think that's something that's a real strength in Dead Stick. From what I've heard, that's a real strength, where instead of just flying around, there's sort of an overarching goal to what it is you're doing. In the same way that there is for Truck Sim, right? Like we're working toward goals, and in Flight Simulator, you just fly. There's nothing happens. You take off, you land, nothing happens. But I think as good as Flight Simulator looks, it's really made them wonder how many people are going to buy the game if it's ever done. But, I mean, I'd buy it. I say that. I probably would. So there's that. There's a Flight Sim. There's a Train Sim later in the year. And other than that, yeah, it's all, for me, it's all franchise titles this year. I assume there will be an F1 2021, MotoGP 2021, etc. And until when? What's the big one? E3? Yeah, until E3, we won't really know if those are going to be sort of repackaging last year's game or if there's going to be anything new or different. And with Electronic Arts buying Codemasters, I'm really curious what happens to the F1 franchise. My fear is it turns into Wreckfest, right? Because of Slightly Mad, Project Cars 3, they just made that, I don't know, it's like Forza now. A lot of drifting, carefully. And then the new Grid 19. Yeah, Grid 19 is very much has a Forza feel to it. Just a fun, kind of lean back, sit on the couch, arcade driving game. That's cool. But I don't know how that EA influence is going to seep into Codemasters, and if they're going to stay, I don't know, sort of true to the spirit of some of their more stout franchises. Now, they did get the WRC license, but that doesn't take over till like 2025. Yeah, 2015. 2025, so we'll get a couple more WRC titles from Kiloton and Big Ben, and then Codemasters will take that over. And I guess EA will be publishing it, sir. Codemasters will develop it and EA will publish it. I don't know. What was I saying about the AI? So we'll see. I mean, I really like WRC8. It took me a long time to get into it, and the first few times I tried it, I really didn't like it. But I do now. WRC9, I found to be, I don't know, I wouldn't say more of the same, but it's alright. It's not great. But it's on Epic, so I don't have access to that till it comes out of embargo next year. But I'm hoping that Codemasters does good things with the WRC license. I really would like to see a WRC game that feels like the Big Bend Kiloton, but looks like the Codemasters, because I think Dirt Rally and Dirt 5, I think they look fantastic. And they play pretty fast on my 1660 Ti. Now, it's not a rocket of a card, but I can handle almost ultra settings. Everything on high, a few things on ultra, and I think those games look fantastic. Same with the F1 franchise. Looks really good on high settings. So we'll see. And I mean, I know there are plenty of people that dismiss the F1 franchise and say it's not a sim, it's not even close, it's just a game. But it feels like a sim to me. I mean, I know the line gets a little blurry, but I think it's a sim. I've been trying to engage with some flight simmers. I have some questions about VATSIM. I have some questions about etiquette, training, stuff like that. And I think at least for the flight sim crowd, the difference between a game and a sim is if it's a sim, there's nothing fun about it. Which sounds kind of, I don't know, sounds kind of counterintuitive, but they don't like challenges, they don't like missions, they don't like any type of economic or managerial component. If it's a sim, right, you just do the thing. And using that criteria, something like iRacing, definitely a sim. All you do is drive. There's no management aspect. I mean, there is, but it's all outside the game. It's outside the sim. You can manage your own career. You can. And some of these big teams, they've got test drivers. Right, so as they're coming up with different setups for the cars for a big event, they'll give that setup to like a dozen of their drivers, and their drivers will turn 500 laps on that setup. So they can evaluate fuel use and tire wear. Great. So from that aspect, yeah, you are managing your own team in iRacing, but it's separate from the game. You're managing your team sort of as you'd be managing a team in real life, but it's not a component of the game. You don't need to win money or win XP or anything. So I think for a lot of flight simmers, that is the cutoff. If the game has any type of like fun add-on, then it's no longer a sim. Just a game. Wow. It's a struggle bus today. Hang on, let me get on this straight piece of road here. This is the goddamn flute song that plays... This Epidemic playlist is 55 hours long, and this song plays every stream. Random, huh? Alright, hang on. Lean over here. Where's my button? There it is. Alright. So from that perspective, F1 2020, I mean, it's definitely got a ton of management stuff. And it's got little challenges and missions that come your way. It's got a ton of like loot boxes and stuff to win and open and buy. So from that angle, no, it's definitely not a sim. But I think the gameplay itself, pretty solid to me. I don't think anything compares to the F1 cars in R Factor and iRacing. But again, I wouldn't say it's more commitment than most people want to make, but it's... iRacing is, it's so unforgiving. Let's get slowed down here. iRacing is so unforgiving. And, I mean, you can time trial it, or you can just do practice laps offline. But if you're going to race other people, it is... I can't really say they're tryhards, because I understand, like, even when I'm racing in a lower split, you're just driving as hard as you can, and you really want to win. It's just the competitive nature of human beings. And you will hear some, I wouldn't call it necessarily like cooperation in races, but you'll hear people sort of being courteous to one another, right? And if you're not in the top 5, let's not get too hung up on this. Let's not crash each other out. Let's just have a nice rest of the race. So you will hear people sort of working in together to prevent any type of incident. But for the most part, it's super, super intense, and there's really no... even in the lower splits, even in the lower licenses, everything seems to be taken very seriously. And I think for some people, that's more... they're not interested in that. That's more than they want. So if I had an opportunity to either race in F1 2020 in an F1 car or compete in an F1 car in iRacing at the moment, I would say I would have to go with F1 2020. Just because it's a big commitment to drive a car that is that difficult to control in a venue with other drivers. I wouldn't say they're all sandbagging, but it's amazing how fast some of the low split drivers are. And I do think there's some sandbagging. People like trophies. So I get it. You know, there needs to be... oh, that is a terrible place. All right. Fried, I don't think they're planning on releasing a new farm sim anytime soon. I thought they were, but I'm realizing they're not. I saw somewhere it was like an AMA with one of the devs, and they said they're going to focus on a DLC model. Initially, I was a little irritated by that, but I've come around to it, and I think maybe it's yeah, it's amazing, Ernie. I just don't get it. What's happening here? All right, another inopportune place for a breakdown. Fried, I was really bummed about no new farm sim, but then I realized if there was a new farm sim and it was a lot like the old one, right, which is what I do with all of my other franchise titles, the new one drops, I buy it for $60, and I realize it's exactly like the previous one. So I think what they may be doing is trying to get out in front of that and approaching it from the position of, well, if we don't have any significant improvements to make to the game, why would we try to sell you a new one? How about instead we just sell you DLC that is going to be new to you? And if you don't want it, you don't have to buy it. All right, so the other way to do it is to take all that DLC, put it in the new game that's exactly like the old game, and then you have to buy that game, even if you just want one piece of kit in one DLC. And then this other model, right? You just buy what you want. I don't know. I can definitely see some advantages to it, and I'm right in the middle with Giants. Dovetail, not a fan. I don't like the way they do business. SCS, big fan. I do like the way they do business. Giants, somewhere in the middle. And I feel like they're almost in an impossible spot because I think they make most of their money from casual gamers, console gamers, but their biggest, like their most vocal part of their fan base are the PC gamers, the one that's super realistic. Yeah, I think so too, Ernie. I think they could have released that as a patch. Now, it is on a new engine. It is not. I forget already. Well, I say already, but it's been 3 years. I don't know if 19 is on a different patch than 17 or not. Yeah, I hear you, Fried. But I guess the other side of that is, because you weren't into those DLC, you weren't obligated to buy them and they didn't cost you any money. So I was really pleased with the Cavernaland and the Alpine pack. But I never got the... what's the... Oh, no, I did get it because I got the Season Pass. But there was one DLC. I mean, the John Deere, I bought that as a standalone before I had the Season Pass. I was so disappointed in that. It was... I mean, I got it for the channel, but I don't know. Are there really any maps that are appropriate to growing cotton? And if you're going to turn off seasons, I don't know, you just have some fun with it. Don't like the Alpine DLC? Why not? I mean, I'm not telling you you're wrong. I'm just curious what it is about it that you don't like. I think if Giants had released a Southern Hemisphere map with, in the same way that they released, what's it called? I want to say Rancho Palazzo, but I know that's not right. The South American map that they released for the Sugarcane DLC. I know they were sort of bundled together, but that Platinum Pack, Platinum Expansion, if they would release a map like that, doesn't have to be in the Southern Hemisphere, I guess, but somewhere near the equator where you could grow cotton, I think that would have been nice. But for there to be like a German map and a North American map, and no, right? But in fairness, the American map, it does feel like kind of a starter map, because it doesn't look like any place in America I've ever been. It represents so many different regions. Careful here. Yeah, I hear you, Fried. And it's sort of the same trap that Dovetail is in. You know, people wanted subways. People were clamoring for a subway and high-speed rail. And Dovetail delivered. We've got... I can't even remember, but it's the base game subway route that comes with Train Sim World 2. And then they released 3 high-speed DLC. One was included, then they released Munich, and then they released Marseille to Avignon. So people wanted subways, and people wanted high-speed rail. We got it, and once you run it a few times, it's like, oh, okay. Now I understand why you've been reluctant to make these. They aren't a whole lot of fun. So I get it, you know, that they... Keon, how you doing? Keon? Keon, tell me how to say your name. Yeah, I think it could be. Fried, I think it could be. Yeah, it's a small part of their audience. Keon? Okay, right on. Welcome to the stream. How you doing? So when I look at that Alpine pack, yeah, it may have been a small part of the community that was clamoring for it. I mean, I think it's well executed, but I would rather see an American base game map than something like the Alpine Farming DLC. Because we do have, and there's plenty of kit available now that would work well on a big American map, but there just isn't one. I mean, you know, Ravenport, but that's not really, you know, that's, like I said, it's a starter map. It's something for you to play with till the mod makers are caught up and are able to start releasing content. But it's, to me, it's not really representative of any American landscape. Maybe we might try to get around this. Try to get around target here. Maybe. Yeah, let's go. I don't know. Devs are in an impossible position. And we sort of put them there, but they put themselves there as well. I think one advantage that SCS has is because all their trucks are free and all their DLC has to be contiguous, they sort of have a ready-made excuse when they release a regional DLC. There are only so many places they can go, so it's like if people are clamoring for, let's see over here, if people are clamoring for, I don't know, Florida or something, well, there's not going to be a Florida DLC, not anytime soon, because we can't connect it. So it's going to be one of 3 or 4 states, right? And that's it. That's all it can be. So they've, I don't know, I guess they've got a little cushion. It makes it seems less like something they decided to piss off the fans and more like something that just has to be a certain way. And then on the truck side, I think because they give all the trucks away, they're really covered there. Yeah, I would agree, Ernie. And it could be that, well, I mean, obviously they put the map together in a certain way for a specific reason, but I don't know what that specific reason is. But I think it could be, like you're saying, it's supposed to be an American map, so we're going to represent a lot of different places in America, or even in North America. We're going to represent a lot of those different places in too small an area for them to all be in. But, you know, whatever. It's just a game. It's just pixels. I also don't know why they don't work with, in the same way that Dovetail works with Rivet. And I guess Giants worked with Aerosoft. Yeah, they did Straw Harvest. I don't know why Giants doesn't get with mod makers, particularly map makers, and just contract with them to make a map. Because if something like Lone Oak dropped as a Giants DLC, I would buy it. I'd buy that for even if I didn't know Bullet Bill made it, I would buy that for $4.99 or $9.99. Just that one map, or the Western Shore. I don't know why they don't essentially put people to work. It seems like people in the modding community are as good or better at making content, that kind of content. I think Giants has the upper hand in terms of making vehicles, because they have access to them. They can go out to the manufacturer's site and scan them and record them and do that sort of thing. But for map making and functionality mods like Seasons, I think the modding community is better at it than Giants. I don't know why they don't contract with them and bring those mods in-house and sell them, because people would pay for them. And it seems like that would make everybody happier. The modder would be getting paid, the content would be better, and theoretically Giants would be making more money too. It seems like a win-win. I don't know, maybe there's something holding them back from doing that. And I think we crossed into California, because we are definitely on that 55 mile an hour speed limit, and it feels so slow. Yep, I think we crossed over at some point, because Arizona is like, it's the Wild West. I don't even think they have a speed limit. California definitely does. So we are going where? We're going to Fresno. Oh, and before I forget, because I always forget, let me do this. We can sleep. We should have stopped at that last gas station we just passed. But next place we can pull in and sleep, we will. Yeah, exactly, Fried. Because you'd have access to a little bit more code. You'd have access to a little bit more of... you'd have an awareness of sort of the underlying structure of the game that maybe you're not privy to as an outsider. And it doesn't have to be like source code or anything. It doesn't have to be all the secrets. But in the same way that ProMods... Here we go. In the same way that ProMods works in with SCS. I've never heard confirmation of that, but I think they have to. Because the ProMods updates they're massive, and some of them happen just a week or two after the game patches up with the new regional DLC. So I do think they work in, and it would make sense that they do. UFOs in New Mexico? Hell yeah. So it would make sense that the ProMod staff have access to a little bit more information and knowledge of the code than we do as players. And if Giants could do that with some mod makers, I think it would just improve the game. And anything that improves the game is going to improve the sales. And that's going to make Giants more money. So if they hired me, that would be my counsel to them as their branding and business development guru. All right, right in there. That worked out perfectly. I always forget to sleep. You know that. Always. So we'll come right in here. Definitely going to put the windows down. Beautiful California desert night. All right. Hop outside. Beautiful. Get some sleep. All right. Right back in here. Windows up now. Lights off. Yeah, I am as well, Fred. I'm curious when people are going to begin modding that, and I'm really curious if it's possible to just add fill types to it the same way you can add fill types as crops, and whether it's possible to have more layers of complexity for the soil. So rather than just nitrogen, that there would be NPK, moisture. Moisture is, or am I thinking of cattle and crops? Is moisture in FS19? Is there drought? I think yes. Yeah, there is, because you get the little Zentro tool, your Zentro scanner, the Wopster scanner, and I believe there is moisture. But unfortunately, right now, I don't think there's anything you can do about it. Soil compaction? Yeah, I mean, I don't know that there would be deformation. I don't think that we would physically be able to see it, but you could at least change the color of it or something, give it a different texture. Some indication that there had been compaction and have it impact yield. Yeah, irrigation I think would be a fun thing to add to the game. That you would have, well, there's a mod to lay in pipe to the animal troughs. So it would be similar to that. But, I mean, I guess if it was me laying it out, if it was me building the mod, I would say set it up in a way that the two longest sides of your field, X times Y, that's the amount of pipe you're going to need, and it's going to cost you this much, 20,000, 50,000, whatever. And then every time you water, based on the size of your field, it's going to cost you this much. But that's when you get back into the spreadsheet aspect of if I spend 50,000 in water for this field and I make 100,000 back because of that, then yeah, definitely it's worth it for me to irrigate. But if I don't, right? If I spend all that money and I'm not able to sell the crop in a way that I can make a profit from it, then I'm not going to do it. Or that you could plan ahead of time. I would love to see a long-term weather forecast. And it wouldn't be 100% accurate. That's no fun. This wind farm is near Indio, California, and it's massive. It's so much bigger than this. It just goes on and on and on. It's right between Palm Springs and Indio. Yeah, I think crop rotation would be fantastic. I think I'd like to see kind of a dumbed down version of cattle and crops. I was going to hop on Farm Sim 17 tomorrow, Keon. So tomorrow's what, Wednesday? And then Thursday was thinking X-Plane, but we could swap that out for Train Sim World. I think Train Sim World is, I don't know, maybe just slightly more popular than X-Plane. Neither one of them do super, super well, but I can do Train Sim. What haven't we driven for a while? I don't think we've driven any of the CSX heavy haul locos in a very long time, so maybe we'll do something in Maryland. All right, I would say preliminarily, the plan is on Thursday we'll do some CSX heavy haul. So yeah, a dumbed down version of cattle and crops I think would be perfect. I liked cattle and crops. I did find it to be, with the very limited amount of content and the one map, I found it to be super, super grindy. And absolutely unforgiving. If you make a single mistake when you're setting up your fertilizer, that field is just sort of scorched and ruined. And nothing good is going to come of it. So dumb it down a little bit. Or at least have I don't know, maybe at the lower difficulty levels have a helper, right? Have a fertilizer wizard. And even if it's for a fee, right? Because we're going to LARP that we're hiring a soil consultant. We're going to pay him $10,000 and he's going to give us exact fertilizer counts for all of our fields or whatever. And then if you go to a higher difficulty level, that fertilizer wizard is no longer available, something like that. But a dumbed down version of cattle and crops I think would be perfect. I would like to see irrigation. I would like to see rotation, but have it set up in a way, have a user interface set up in a way that you can sort of drag and drop some of these things. And again, thinking about how brutal the flight sim community is. You know, I saw somebody was asking about flap damage, because in X-Plane, if you deploy your flaps or slats when you're going too fast, you damage them, right? And somebody was asking about flap damage and immediately got lit up, and people in the chat were like, it's a simulator, you can't turn off damage. And he's like, yeah, I know, I'm not trying to turn it off, I'm just asking about it. And somebody else is saying, learn to fly your plane, don't deploy slats and flaps at too high a speed. And he's like, yeah, I know, thank you. But my question was, and it was like he couldn't even get to the question. So adding a drag and drop where you can do some long-term planning on rotation into the game, I mean, I know the answer to that is, well, just do it yourself on a spreadsheet independent of the game. Yeah, that's a fair point. But by including it in the game and making that option available to console gamers and more casual gamers, I think you give the opportunity to add realism for people that want it, and if they don't want it, they don't have to use it. But to be able to plan out the next 3 years, you know, and just color code it. If you drop the appropriate crop in the slot, it's going to be green to indicate a good yield, and if you don't rotate, or if you put the wrong crop in there, it's going to be orange or yellow to indicate a reduced yield because you're putting it in a field that had this crop in it previously. So, okay. It's just a puzzle. You move all your pieces around till everything's green, you know, and then hit a button and calculates out your profitability based on what those crops are selling for. And if you don't like the number you get, then start again and move them all around till they're all green again and see if you're more profitable with those crops. And I know, I mean, I'm not a game coder, but what I'm describing there is, it's not, it's not complicated at all. I know it's not. So that's closed. Okay, this is the only place we can go right down here. Here we go. So that's not a particularly complicated script to write. And I think it's something that could be included in a game. No problem. I think for me it would really add a lot to it. I feel like hang on. I didn't look soon enough. I think all right, so we got to do a thing here. Because this is going to send us down there. We're going to flip around and come back. But I think, yeah, so we still got a ways to go. All right, so this, the blockage is like right here. So if it turns us around, it sends us back here. The road's going to be closed here, and it's going to send us out here. So we need to go like this way. Nope. Not what I want. This way. There we go. We need to go like that. All right.
Ready to roll.
Man, I would love to see CB radios added to this game. I know the way the VATSIM client is set up, it's originally based on Squawk Box, which is TeamSpeak, more or less. It was like an early version of TeamSpeak 20 years ago. But they've added things to it. So it's TeamSpeak. That's the best way to describe it. It's TeamSpeak, but they've added atmospheric distortion, and the further you are away from somebody, the more muffled and unclear their signal gets. So it really does sound like radio communication in an aircraft. I think they could definitely do that well, I don't know if they could technically, but if they could bring something like that to ATS. All right, thanks, Keon. I appreciate that. If they could bring something like that to ATS, where it's essentially TeamSpeak when you're in game, but it's only possible for you to communicate with trucks that you're relatively close to. If you're in MP, you can hear the trucks around you, talk to your buddies. But you wouldn't hear people that were on the other side of the state. I think the problem with that would be, well, the obvious problem would be people would troll it, because that's what people do. Perfect blend between cattle and crops and farm sim. Yeah, I agree. I think my perfect scenario would be where cattle and crops is essentially a master mod for Farm Sim 19. But it didn't work out that way. They chose to go in their own direction, which is, it's fine. You know, people do what they do. And I want them to be successful, but I feel like there's too much going on. Yeah, exactly. I'm sure there's a way to lock out people. I know, like in the Division 2, there is proximity chat, where when you're in MP, you can just hear people that are around you. And as you walk away from them, they get quieter and quieter until you can't hear them. So, again, if you and your crew are running around in MP, you can hear each other, but you can't hear other teams until you get close to them, and then you're not on a private channel anymore. They can hear you as though they were right next to you. But you can turn that off and have a private channel just for you and your team. You can set it up however you want. So I guess you could set it up that way in ATS as well. But mostly what I'd like is that you could get some additional heads up about traffic. I think it could come in graphically in the minimap to let you know there's a road closure here. You should plan to reroute. Recommended rerouting is this, but you can reroute however you want. I think that would be cool. Because as it is right now, the detours, I don't know, they come up so suddenly that they're sort of gone before you have a chance to adjust for them. So you don't really get that aspect of fixing a problem. You know, there's a detour. I'm not going to be able to stop in time. All right, I've gone around it, and then it picks a new route for you automatically. But I would love to see a little bit more, you know, this is a problem. How am I going to solve it? That is the great thing about modding, though, is if you have an idea about something that should be in a game, you can just put it in. This is one of the original parts of the map, is it not? It started with California and I want to say western Arizona, but not all of Arizona. And then they added the rest of Arizona later as a free DLC. They just expanded out base game. So this part of the map would be 5 years old. 4 years old? 5 years old. Let's say 4. I mean, it doesn't look bad, but it definitely looks different than some of the new stuff. West Somerset, and I ran out of hard drive space. I had to uninstall some DLC because I think my Train Sim World installation was at like 350 gig. Yeah, I'd like to see it a little bit more interactive. And I mean, when I think about this game aging out, I tend to think about it aging out on graphics and the look of the game. I think the player base is loyal enough to the idea of it that there's no worries about the concept getting old. But as much as I love it, it does get a little stale sometimes. You know, I'd like to see, I guess, more of the things that make Flight Sim so enjoyable for me. I'd like to see some of that stuff brought in here. In the same way that I would like to see some of the things that make Truck Sim so enjoyable for me. I'd like to see those things brought into Flight Sim. But again, you have to do it outside of the sim. You have to do it via websites or standalone apps, because people absolutely will not tolerate any clutter in their sim. So any economic or management stuff, it's got to be outside of the game. There are several organizations for virtual airlines, but how do I say this diplomatically? I think there's a lot of lifelong bachelors in that community. And they just, all they want to do is just make up rules. There's rules for everything, and everything's got to be done a certain way. So if you want to start a virtual airline, you're going to do it in a very specific way, the way somebody else wants you to do it. A lot of jumping through hoops. Also, people in the flight sim community seem absolutely obsessed with rank. You rank up. Everything is rank. You always start as like private, right? Lance corporal, and then you level up. And it's just based on hours. It's not based on skill. I mean, there are things that you can skill up, but for the most part, it's just time. And something about that, it seems really hollow and transparent to me, because essentially what you're being ranked on is how much of your life you've wasted on this video game. And whether they know it or not, what they're telling you is, that's what matters to me. This is how I present myself to the world. This is what makes me matter, is how many hours I've spent in this game. And I don't know. I don't know that I necessarily want to define myself by any video game. And if it was going to be a video game, I don't know, man. I don't know. I can't decide which one it would be. Probably not Flight Sim. But people are funny. People are funny, and I feel like the internet makes us more, not TMI, but, you know, it makes us maybe a little bit more open than we intend to be. And we give away more than we intend to give away. It's not as anonymous as people think. So, I would like to see some of that money making brought into Flight Sim, but I'll have to do it on my own. Roblox, I never played it. Never ever. Oh. That was unexpected. Yeah, this is an older part of the map. Keep left, we can do that. Never played Roblox. I don't think I've ever even seen it. I mean, I've heard of it. I have. It's a city builder. No, it's not a city builder. It's a block builder. I've heard about it, but I've literally never seen Roblox. Is it a sim? Is it a sim title? No, then I've never seen it. Slide over here. One more. There we go. All right, and we are on our way. We'll head up the Grapevine and get the hell out of LA. One of the things I like about coming into Los Angeles from the north is the city does present itself. When you're coming down the 5, come past the Grapevine. It's a game with games made by people. All right. I mean, I guess I should check it out. It's been around for a minute. I guess I could check it out. But I really don't know anything about it. Oh yeah, it's got a reveal when you come into Los Angeles from the north, particularly in the evening, with the sun setting. The city just kind of, I don't know, it just rolls out in front of you, looking down past Pasadena and Hollywood and just all the way across the basin. It's definitely an amazing place. I'm glad I lived there. I don't know that I would ever want to live there again. The traffic was surreal. I lived out on the peninsula. It took me 45 minutes just to get to a freeway. And then you drive up the ramp and you just stop dead. Sit there for another hour. So I don't miss that. And I don't miss that everybody was just relentlessly hustling. Everybody that you meet is giving you a business card and, you know, call me and we'll make money together. That got a little bit tiresome, but it is an amazing place. It really is. Sims 4? Another game I've never played. Going right up here. Oh, what was the other one? Oh, Kerbal. Yeah, I got CCAN up and running, so I'm tempted to bring Kerbal in. Slide over here. Because I've got, oh, probably 20 mods that I downloaded straight away for Kerbal. And there's like another half dozen or so that I'm sort of thinking about. Don't know if we'll bring those in straight away or not. But I think Kerbal could be fun. It's definitely kind of a gin and tonic game. Because if I were playing it seriously, I would have a calculator open on my other monitor and I would be trying to like figure it out and do it for real. Yeah, exactly. Owen, how you doing, brother? So I think if I played Kerbal for real, it would be super, super boring. But if I played it the way video games are meant to be played, like to have fun, I do think gin and tonic and just experiment and blow up a lot, I think that could be a fun thing to do. This is the grapevine, by the way, that we're passing through right there. And that climb is, in real life, that climb goes on forever. Coming up out of the basin. Friday got bumped back to 2022. And I have so much respect for the devs that they didn't keep it on the coming soon list. And they pushed it all the way back. They seem like nerds. They seem like science types. And people like that are generally pretty data-driven. But nonetheless, I do appreciate it. Let's slide over one more here. Having a problem on ETS where my steering wheel is like... I mean, it sounds like really bad input lag. When you go to, if you go to your device manager and find your wheel, there should be a panel you can open that has like all your access and your response time. If everything is responding in real time there, then I would say there, I don't know, maybe something in the game is lagging out real bad. I've had input lag before, but not 3 or 4 seconds. That's impossible. I don't. If you could drive like that, you're an absolute pilot among pilots. I don't think I could do it. Responds in real time in Farm Sim? Yeah, it sounds like the game's just lagging out real bad on you. You find anything on Reddit? Reddit has become my go-to for fixing things in games. I skip right past Google now. I feel like Reddit is... It's where you're going to end up anyway. I have tried. I played it a couple years ago. I think it's been updated significantly since then. And I wasn't familiar with CCAN at all, but I got CCAN downloaded, and it's basically the mod hub for Kerbal. So I was able to get the mods that I do use, I was able to get them all updated. Well, what I did was I uninstalled them, I threw them out, and then I just downloaded the same mods, but the current ones from CCAN. We're getting a little bit low on fuel, but I think we can make it to Fresno. I got the new ones from CCAN, and I saw a bunch of other ones in there. And I also looked for a list, Best Kerbal Mods 2020. And whatever was on that list, I just downloaded those from CCAN as well. But it's like I guess it's more like the Steam Workshop than the Mod Hub, because it does keep everything updated. So as people patch the mods or improve them or fix them or whatever, instead of putting them up on GitHub, well, I guess they do that too. They put them up on GitHub, but then they also put them up on CCAN. And the next time you fire up CCAN, it just updates everything that you have. Keeps everything in the same folders, and I think that's going to make it more fun, because I know that all the mods that I have are current, up to date. They all work with the newest version of the game, and they all work with each other as well. And I got an ISS, so I think what I might do, maybe we'll build an ISS, right? Just start by building one rocket that can lift those weights into orbit. And once we've got that done, then we'll just start taking the pieces up one at a time. I mean, I know I did it once before, so theoretically I could do it again, but you never know. Yeah, it's really different, Fried. It's a different kind of game. Graphically, it's not a whole lot to look at. And the science is unforgiving. But I loved that stuff when I was a kid. I was very much into space, as I think most kids are. Maybe all kids are. But it's got, I mean, it's got everything. It's, if you want to leave Earth orbit, it's got, you know, Hohmann transfers and translunar injection and apogee and parapogee and everything else. We just missed our exit. Oh, man. I'm trying to get to the moon, and I can't even get to Fresno. All right. Let's get turned around here. So yeah, it's a little different. First time you hop into it, it's a little different, but I would recommend it. It's a super fun game. And yeah, I think we've got enough fuel to get there. Yeah, it's definitely nerd candy if you're into that stuff. And there's a ton of mods. If you do get it, I'd say get that CCAN as well. I mean, I'm talking about it like I'm an expert or something. I just found it myself, but it's basically Steam for Kerbal, or Steam Workshop for Kerbal. Now, it said there was a Fresno exit in half a mile. I'm not seeing a Fresno exit. Unless, hang on. Yeah, it wanted us to exit back here and then take this little road up, but we're staying on the... Are we on the 5? No, we're on the 99. We're staying on the 99 all the way to... Okay, well, I mean, that's not bad. I probably would have done that anyway. If I had gone through and laid out my own route, I would have stayed on the bigger road anyway. Hell yeah, Fred. Let me know what you think of it. It took me, the first time I tried it with no assists, it took me, I don't know, probably 15 different rockets till I got into orbit. And the payload that I had was, I don't know, it was like as big as a shoe. That was the most that I could lift. And I'm told that the science is pretty accurate. I'm told the science is pretty accurate, and the problems that you'll encounter they're a little bit exaggerated, I think, to make them more, like, visually apparent.
Get ready to turn left. Turn left.
But the physics modeling is supposed to be spot on. All right, so we made it to Fresno. I guess from here, keep going up the coast and head all the way up to Seattle. And we just came from there maybe 1 or 2 streams ago, we came down from that way. No, we came down from Idaho. So if we go, next episode, if we go all the way up to Seattle, and then from Seattle to Coeur d'Alene, or Lewistown, or wherever it was, then we'll have made a big loop. And from there, maybe look on the map and see if there are any places that we haven't gone yet. I know we've been to every city. We've got every city discovered, including Colorado. We've got every garage bought. And our drivers are all maxed out, so they're making money faster than I can spend it. And I can spend it pretty fast. So I think we'll just try to get 100% discovery on the map. There you go. That's the plan. Walbert. Yeah, maybe I'm remembering it wrong, but I feel like the Sissel pack. Oh, you know what? There's 2 Sissel packs. Are there not? I know there's the in-cab stuff. Like the cabin accessories. Yeah, I've got, what is it? There's Breaking Ground, and then there's like Brave New World or something. But a lot of the Steam Workshop mods I found require those DLC. All right. Breaking Ground and Making History, that's it. Did we... Oh, yeah. Just a little further. There we go. All right. So let's hop out here. We'll take another look. I'm happy with the skin. I mean, I'm not great at building colorways, but I'm happy with it. We'll keep it. All right. Engine off. Let's get unloaded. We're going to need to sleep again here, too. Not too very long from now. So this worked out just about right. And we're at 82 minutes. And we leveled up. Hell yeah. We don't get anything for leveling up because we've already got all our points, but so it goes. All right, so I think I'm going to call it because we're at about an hour and a half. So I think I'm going to call it for now. And we'll do Western Shore tomorrow. Yeah, that's almost as far. We started where? Las Cruces. See, in my head, I feel like Las Cruces to LA, Fresno, same thing. Las Cruces to Fresno is, I don't know, 1,000 miles, and then Fresno to Bellingham is 1,000 miles, but it's not. It's, well, no, it's exactly 1,000 miles, but then this one is, so if we went back to Las Cruces, this one is 922. Why does it look so different? Come back. This distance between Fresno and Las Cruces looks, I don't know, doesn't look long at all. And then to get up here, that looks like, I'd say half again as long. I don't know, maybe I'm just tripping. But we've got a lot of little roads in here we can inspect and try to get. We've got 71% on discovery, so maybe we'll start working on 100% discovery. Okay. There you have it. Western Shore tomorrow. It does, Ernie. It does. I don't know why, but it does. Oh my goodness. Look how big this map has become. And then our next state will be right here. Wyoming. I love it. All right, so we'll do Western Shore tomorrow. And then what do we say for Thursday? Train Sim World. We'll do one of the Maryland routes, CSX. And then Friday, I don't know, X-Plane maybe? Or back on Western Shore. We'll see. I want to be careful with Western Shore. I don't want to burn out on that because I've already got a little bit of a grind going on that map. And I don't want to burn myself out. I love that map. All right, there you have it. Thanks, everybody. See you tomorrow. Thanks for stopping by to check out the stream. I do appreciate you. Take care. Good night.